can't defeat me. I am every opponent you've ever faced.
Underestimating the diminutive Chameleon from Kung Fu Panda 4 wearing a silk kimono may seem like an easy oversight. After all, a couple of swift karate chops and roundhouse kicks might appear sufficient to neutralize the threat, right? Well, my friend, you've got this totally wrong, because with a flick of her sticky pink tongue, the Chameleon will suck in anyone's abilities faster than Po manages to finish a dumpling, only to transform into their nefarious mirror image. In this video, we will explore the Chameleon's anatomical prowess, and try to figure out what makes them one of the most powerful villains Po has ever fought. So without wasting much time, let's get right to it. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
I'm the chameleon. I do nothing but change.
Who is the Chameleon? As the first female villain of the Kung Fu Panda franchise, the concept of the Chameleon was based on channeling a darker version of Po, given that both of them rose from nothing to a position of power, while being grossly underestimated by society based on how they look. The Chameleon is a beady-eyed, sneaky sorceress ruling over Juniper City, who was determined to prove herself to all those who had doubted her. As a young student, she was laughed at for being small and got turned down by a bunch of kung fu schools, but she didn't let that stop her. Instead, she taught herself how to shapeshift, do sorcery, and survive on the streets. The Chameleon promised herself she'd be the best kung fu master ever, and after a while, she had enough power to dominate all the crime bosses of Juniper City and take all their riches. But even after becoming a powerful sorceress, the Chameleon had realized that although she could transform into anything she wanted to, she did not have the skills for becoming a kung fu master. So the Chameleon had set her sights on the Staff of Wisdom, a powerful tool that could bring back anyone from the spirit world. The Chameleon planned to summon all the kung fu masters from the spirit world and steal their chi, which is like the life force that gave them their powers. She figured if she absorbed the powers of Po's old enemies, she'd finally be strong enough to take him down and take over the world. So she sent Zun to deceive Po and get the Staff of Wisdom from him. Even though she managed to take the staff from Po, open up the spirit realm, and steal the chi of a bunch of powerful kung fu masters, in the end, Po and Zun teamed up and ultimately stopped her. The Chameleon's reign of terror ended with her being sent off to the spirit realm with Tai Lung.
You finally met your match, Chameleon.
We're not so different, you and I.
What does the Chameleon look like? This evil sorceress has many forms, given that she can literally shapeshift into anyone or anything she wants. But when she's in her original form, the Chameleon has a bony casque and it's rather petite. Her body, which is adorned with a red and green silk kimono, is sea green in color, while her long, spiky tail has specks of brown on it. The Chameleon has an elegant form and also wears a golden crown. One important thing to notice would be her distinct beady eyes, which maintain a red color when she's her own self, and change into a glowing blue when she has shapeshifted into someone else. The Chameleon is a master manipulator. Brain is more powerful than brawn, and the Chameleon Strategy simply proved this. Right from the very beginning, we saw her disguise herself as one of the big shots in Juniper City's underworld conference, among all the crime bosses. Without being aware of her presence, one of them just couldn't help himself from making fun of her, and said that a street urchin like her should be taken out. This was when the Chameleon decided to reveal herself to the group, leaving the others shocked and scared. As the bosses quickly apologized for their rude remarks, the Chameleon didn't hold it against them. Instead, she went on to explain how thieves make their living by taking advantage of the city's folks, so she didn't feel bad about it, especially if she was the one behind it. To really drive home her point, she jacked up the amount of money they had to pay her every month to a whopping 60%, and threatened them with dire consequences if they failed. Even apart from that, we barely saw her in the field, dealing with any issues. Instead, she sat in the comfort of her fortress, and mobilized her highly advanced Komodo dragon army. Even the streets of Juniper City were on high alert, with her convoy of bulls coming to collect taxes from the citizens and threatening them if they failed to deliver. The biggest victim of her manipulation was Zen. Even though she adopted Zen from the streets, she did that because the Chameleon saw her fearlessness as potential. She turned Zen into her own personal weapon and used her to get Po's staff. Zen did not see the real conniving side of the Chameleon until the sorceress disguised herself as Zen and pushed Po off a cliff. When Zen tried to hold her accountable, Chameleon simply asked her to suck it up because nobody cared about emotions. And these are really just a few examples of how the Chameleon weaponized her manipulation to further her gain. The Chameleon's Tongue works as a power absorber. The Chameleon's Tongue is her biggest weapon. Just like Poe's Staff of Wisdom makes him the Dragon Warrior, the Chameleon's Tongue gives her the power to be the evil sorceress she is. We've witnessed her tongue in action countless times in the film, no puns intended. Anyway, with that being said, we've seen her weaponize her tongue after she used Poe's Staff of Wisdom to open the spirit realm and summon Tai Lung. Although Tai Lung did manage to incarcerate her Komodo dragon army, when he launched his kung fu moves on the evil sorceress, she just stuck her tongue out and stole his kung fu, leaving him powerless. And then one by one, she summoned all the masters from the spirit realm, repeating the process of sticking out her tongue to snatch their powers and absorb them all. Even after Poe returned to fight her and undo the damage she had done, the Chameleon and Poe went head to head in a serious fight, with the evil sorceress using her quick tongue to grab Poe and throw him hard against the palace walls. Basically, her tongue is a multi-purpose weapon, agile enough to be used for ensnaring her opponents and strong enough to absorb all their powers for herself. The Chameleon can shapeshift into anything she wants. As we've discussed multiple times before, the Chameleon is a master shapeshifter who can transform herself into anything or anyone she wishes, be it big or small. Not just that, she can also mimic their voices and their attitude to a point that differentiating between her and the real person is next to impossible. That is, until she reveals her glowing blue eyes to make her presence known. We have seen her shapeshifting prowess right from the first scene of the film, when she threatened a mine and scared away all the working ram horns of the mine while shapeshifting as Tai Lung. Over time, she uses her skills to her benefit, hiding amongst others as the Empress of Disguise, to weed out those who conspire against her, like she did with the crime bosses of Juniper City, only to use it to her benefit and seize more money from them. Apart from that, it also seems like the Chameleon takes pleasure from using her shape-shifting powers to deceive others and hurt their feelings. Like the moment when she transformed into Zen and pretended to be remorseful, using this opportunity to lure Poe in, only to push him off a cliff. Zen watched all of this happen, and it traumatized her into realizing that the Chameleon only cared for herself. Everyone else were mere pawns in her elaborate scheme. Now coming to the most interesting part of her shape-shifting abilities, during her ultimate showdown with Poe, the Chameleon had already absorbed every kung fu power from all the kung fu masters she summoned from the spirit world. So now, she was not just a master of magic, but also of kung fu. So when Poe confronted the Chameleon in a showdown, attempting to reclaim his staff, he struggled to keep up with her changing styles and tactics. Because every blow she landed on Poe, she shape-shifted into a new master, from Tai Lung to Master Elephant, then Master Cobra, Master Osprey, Master Wolf, Master Scorpio, Kai, and Shen. So just as Chameleon was about to strike the final blow, Zen stepped in. In return, the Chameleon morphed into a hybrid of every creature Poe has ever fought, before the three engaged in a chaotic battle throughout the room. Now, this creature looked hauntingly beautiful, leaving everyone around her stunned, even Poe's jaw dropped. This has been dubbed as the Chameleon's Dragon version, as this hybrid version saw the Chameleon grow 5 times taller in size. She was now more frightening than ever, as she grew a bigger head, sharper teeth, longer, spikier tail, and 2 pairs of arms, out of which one pair resembled a scorpion's pedipalps. It did not end there, because this version of her was a combination of every enemy Poe had ever fought against, because the evil sorceress also grew a pair of very large wings, which enabled her to fly and also breathe blue fire just like a dragon does. And that was not the end of it, because the evil sorceress then sucked in Poe's powers with her tongue, and used them to transform into a more menacing version of him in their final showdown, where Poe was basically fighting his evil counterpart. What other powers are in the Chameleon's arsenal? Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, then let me tell you the true core of the Chameleon's powers comes from her supernatural prowess, which we see her weaponize at every move. She uses her magic to teleport during combat, appearing from different places to trick and confuse her opponents. Even before she sucked in the chi of all the kung fu masters from the spirit realm, the Chameleon was resilient, agile, and strong. Plus, her mass psychological manipulation basically made her intangible, hence affirming the idea of brains overpowering brawn. In addition to that, after she overpowered all the masters from the spirit realm and sucked in their kung fu, the Chameleon acquired their brute strength, their warfare tactics, and the strategies behind every kung fu move they make. Above all, she's the most cunning and intelligent foe Poe has ever stood against, which makes her more fearsome than every other villain our dumpling-hogging panda has fought. Marvelous verdict. Like I mentioned before in our previous review of Kung Fu Panda 4, this amazing villain is a missed opportunity, because I can envision a plethora of settings she and Poe can be put in, but the movie was so focused on exposition arcs that all we got to see was the Chameleon strutting around in her dark fortress and waiting for Zen to deliver her needs. Her power set needed to be explored more in the film. Rather, we received a rushed plot, brimming with bull chases and tavern fights. I think the Chameleon is an amazing addition to the Kung Fu Panda villain roster, and I really hope in the next installation we get to see her breaking breaking out of the spirit realm in order to use her skills to the fullest potential against Po and Zen. What do you guys think about her character arc and powers? Let us know in the comment box below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone!